Welcome to the Distracted Driving Podcast. I am Sean Rabbit Ears Genovese.
And I'm Rex Black and White Panda Williams.
And this is, I think I already said this is Distracted Driving. The reason for our nicknames tonight, for those of you that are not watching on the YouTube, I have rabbit ears that have appeared
They're shrinking
from some mysterious force that may be behind me.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Looking good.
It's episode, I've lost count, 20-something. So I'm not even going to try. But part two, I do know it's part two of our conversation with Matt McWilliams, author of Turn Your Passions into Profits. I should probably double check. It's passions plural, right? Or is it passion?
Yeah. Passions and profits, both plural.
Gosh,
And it's a good book for starting your business. If you want to start a business today, teaching something online, it's a good handbook, definitif
you missed part one, you find out why Matt has the nickname of the affiliate guy. If you're interested, go check that out. But without further ado, let's just get right back into our conversation.
Good stuff.
Part two, which begins right after this message from our sponsor, Sean Genovese Enterprises. If you have an organization that wants to do business better, give me a call. Go check out my website. You can go to nomorekryptonite.com. Nomorekryptonite.com.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
It's not SG Enterprises?
Well, you can get there that way too, but that's a very long URL. And nomorekryptonite.com
is shorter.
Because kryptonite to your factory, instability is the kryptonite in your factory. It causes increased cost, lower productivity. So we want to rid your factory of kryptonite. Go find out how, and maybe bring me in. I can help. nomorekryptonite.com.
Because you're a Superman.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
And you need to take the kryptonite away from them so they can be super.
We're going to get lost in the metaphor. Here's Matt McWilliams.
Okay. That's awesome. That's such a great story. But like you were saying, the book really isn't about affiliate marketing. Mm-hmm. That's just one step. The book is about turning your passion, doing what you're passionate about, your knowledge of what you know, and sharing it with others. And I love your one step ahead analogy is like you don't have to be the expert. You only have to be one step ahead. And the analogy I like to use is, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
I heard that. Let me tell you, the first time I ever heard that quote was in an article that my dad was featured in May of 1991. He was in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And my dad had qualified for the Atlanta, I don't think they still do, but they used to have a PGA Tour event down there. Fun story. One of the guys he played with that day was a guy that nobody had ever heard of. His name was John Daly. And, sure enough, 3 months later, John Daly's winning the PGA Championship as the ninth alternate down at Crooked Stick and became a legend, my dad qualified and he had hit something. He had hit some sort of a shot, and I don't remember what it was. And he quoted that, and I was like, "What does that even mean, Dad?" I'm like 12 years old. That's a stupid saying, but I will never forget that because of that. And you're right about that. Like part of to kind of just take you through the pre to that is that clarifying who you help, which we can dive into. But that this concept of leadership, there's just so many misconceptions around that. And we think we have to be 2 miles ahead, and we think we have to be like, well, I got to be the greatest expert in the world at that. No, you do not. Not to have an impact. You do not need to be the world's leading expert. You do not need to be 2 miles ahead. In fact, sometimes that is absolutely the worst place to lead from. It is just an awful place to lead from. And so one of the things that the pandemic did, we've heard so many positive stories come out of the pandemic. Obviously, we know the negative ones, and those are going to always lead on the news, and we're all going to hear about those. And I'm not diminishing what happened. I think that's pretty much impossible to know somebody that does. It's pretty much impossible to meet somebody who doesn't know somebody that died. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there were good things that came out of it. One of the good things that came out of it was that I fell in love with going on hikes. I wouldn't say I fell in love with hiking. I just like going on hikes. and so because we didn't have for 6 to 8 weeks,
important distinction.
Yeah, you couldn't go to the movies. You couldn't go, just like you can't do some of the stuff you were used to doing. So it was like, well, we got to go on a hike, and you need to be like, I don't know, is it safe to go to stores? We didn't know. Nobody knew it, in the first couple weeks. So it's like, let's be outside, get fresh air. And if somebody happens to cough within, 500 yards of me, well, hopefully it'll dissipate by the time he gets to me. So we go on these hikes and
that's great. My son went to the driving range.
Yeah. Some of these hikes, they're dangerous. You take one step, you fall, you die. There's a 1,000-foot drop. You are not going to survive that thing. And this concept of leadership, this thought hit me that what is a better place to lead from? We think we have to lead from 2 miles ahead. We have to be the friend, the super fit friend, the one who's always wearing bike shorts at inappropriate times, jogs in place at stoplights, that guy. Like, we all have that one friend. You don't have to ask him if he did CrossFit because he's already told you 5 times this week. And so we got this friend, and he's 2 miles up ahead yelling back at you saying, hey, hurry up, man, and watch out for... What am I watching out for? I can't hear you. You're 2 miles ahead. No, better place to lead. One step ahead. We reach back. We grab the person's hand. We say, hey, watch out. This step's a little tricky here. Mm-hmm. That's all that leadership is. And when we understand that and we can commit to leadership, commit to being a leader, that's step 2. When we can commit to being a leader, at the end of step 2, there's a whole commitment that you can fill out and date and sign. When we do that, it changes how we perceive our relationship to our audience. We see ourselves as a leader. And that's a huge shift for most people to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I thought was kind of related to that, and I can't remember if this is in the book or if you said it on the podcast, but this is what haunts me all the time when I think about, okay, I'm going to take my knowledge and go help people. But then I think, well, who wouldn't know that? Everybody else knows that.
Yeah,
it's always knowledge.
But when I'm in that headspace, I'm thinking about, I think, that guy that's 2 miles ahead. That look at all those people that already know that, and I'm not thinking about the person that is just right here. That
behind you.
No, they're just trying to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't know that? That person wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, again, it's the curse of knowledge. We were on a team call. I run an affiliate management agency, and we were on a team call earlier. And my first reaction to when one of our team members said, "Oh my gosh, I was so confused about basically, step 1, step 2, step 3. We'll just simplify this without getting into specifics." And I'm like, my first thought is, how in the heck did you not know that was step 1? And I went, wait a minute. I come to think of it, I don't think any of us ever told her. And although we've talked about it and we kind of expected that maybe that was something she could learn by osmosis, that's our fault. Oh my gosh, this is like, she's really good at what she does and she didn't know that she got confused. So if that can happen to her, you know what? Nobody out there knows this stuff. Most people don't know. Oh my gosh, there's probably 25 people on earth that know that that's step 1 of this 3-step process that you need to do. I'm like, I bet if I did a podcast episode on that, it would blow people's minds. And it is the most simplistic thing to me. Like, I would why? Because I would never forget to do it. Why? Because I've been doing it for 18 years now. And so we think this thing like, oh yeah, every parent of 2 autistic children knows that you don't do that with an autistic child. Not the one who just learned that you don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't all people know? Like, how is it that in 2023 you don't know sugar's bad for you? Well, because that's not how they were raised. They kind of heard that maybe you should eat less sugar, but they don't realize how much sugar's in barbecue sauce. They don't know how much sugar's in this and that. How would they know that if they didn't learn that? And we just think, if I went on and did a thing about, barbecue sauce, everybody knows there's a lot of sugar in barbecue sauce. Do you realize most people don't know how to read a food label? Not because they're illiterate, they just don't really understand that concept. And so
or they don't even think about it.
Assume everybody does. And
Yeah.
they don't. And so, there's a concept that we call it the target test. So I talk about this anytime I talk about people come on and say, "Wow, virtual summits are dead." Really, or email marketing's dead. Things like that. Go to a Target, not a Walmart because Walmart's weird. Go to a Target and ask 100 people if they've ever been to a virtual summit. 2 people. That's 3. I held up 3 fingers and said the number 2. That was weird. 2 people. I can't hold up 2 fingers apparently.
It's okay. Luckily, most people listen.
Yeah. 2 people have ever been to a virtual summit out of 100. So how are they dead if only 2 out of 100 people have ever been to one? And because we're experts, because I live in the marketing world, and all my friends are in the marketing world, and they've all seen all these virtual summits. Why? Because we're hypersensitive to things like that. So that's just one example. The other example is again, with the target test, we think, oh my gosh, everybody's heard of, so our clients, they're a who's who in the marketing world, right? Oh, Stu McLaren, Michael Hyatt. Again, go to Target, ask how many of those people have ever heard of Jeff Walker. 2 people.
Or Michael Hyatt, Seth Godin.
2 people. 4 have heard of Seth, maybe.
Right.
Oh, we're in the entrepreneurial world. Oh, Gino Wickman with traction and rocket fuel. Okay, great. I met somebody the other day that was like, have you ever heard of Gino Wickman? Have you ever heard of traction and rocket fuel? We're implementing in our company. I'm like, yeah. My first reaction is yeah, of course, duh. Instead, I'm like, oh, I know. Isn't he amazing? We think every entrepreneur has heard of Gino Wickman. Every entrepreneur's read the same books as us. There's 8 billion books, roughly. I made that number up. That could help you as an entrepreneur.
Plus or minus.
How many have,
Not to scale.
have people actually read? And the reality is not that many. So that curse of knowledge where you think everybody's read the same things, had the same experiences, most of the stuff that you think is so simplistic, the systems that you've built, the steps in my book, I think they're super easy. Why? Because I've been teaching them for 8 years to our clients. They are simplistic to me. I would never miss a single thing. When I teach these to our clients, they get every little, step and sub-step and part of that. And it's super simple to me. And I had to detach myself from that and go, okay, the reality is 98% of the people who read this book know less than 2% of what's in the book. And so everything I'm going to put in here more than likely is going to blow some freaking minds. And I can't be, this is the final part of this, is I cannot be distorted to think that just because the people I hang around with who are at my level of entrepreneurship, whatever that means, that just because they know all this stuff, that I can't let that distort my view. And then here's the funny thing. This is the funny thing. I've got a friend of mine. I gave him an advanced copy of the book. He's a friend of mine. He promoted the book. So I gave him an advanced copy about 7 weeks ago. And he's like, Matt, honestly, I was flipping through the book and I was thinking, there's probably some stuff that Matt writes about in step 7 that might be relevant to me. He was kind of interested in step 7. He's thinking, I kind of want to learn to create raving fans. He's like, maybe even some stuff in step 6 where I talk about, how to be like a champion, a hero for their cause. There might be some stuff in there. There's some cool stuff in there. And I talk about some leaders throughout history and how to take their lessons and apply them to building a business. And I'll probably learn some stuff, but these first 5 steps, dude, I'm skipping those. And he's like, I heard when you came on, I went on his podcast and I told the story about my dad that's in step 4. I'm happy to share it in a moment. And I shared the story with my dad and he was like, dude, something clicked with me. And he said, I went back and read the whole step 4, which is all about creating a lead magnet and basically attracting, converting visitors into subscribers is the name of the chapter. And he said, I saw your rules in there for how to create a lead magnet. You say no more than 3 hours and it's got to be easy to consume and it solves one problem. Like the steps are really number 1, define one problem. Number 2, solve the problem. That is the steps. He said, Matt, we have 4 lead magnets. This is a guy running a $2.4 million a year business. All right. Not the target audience for this book. A little bit more advanced in the target audience. And he said, you said no more than 3 hours. So I went to my team and I said, we have 4 lead magnets, big lead magnets, bringing in 1,000 leads a day between the 4 of them. He said, we're going to take 8 hours. So 2 hours per. We're not even going to come close to 3. We're going to re-engineer these lead magnets based on this story. He said, you told this story of your dad and it clicked with me. And I went to my team, said overnight we improved our opt-in rate 40%.
No way.
They went from 1,000 leads a day to about 1,300 leads a day. We are talking, 1,400 leads a day. We are talking an increase of 40% in leads, which means an increase of about 40% in revenue. That's a game-changing amount of money, $500,000 plus to their business every single year. From something that I was like, there's no freaking way anybody who's making more than $50,000 a year is going to get anything out of this. Like, it's making $50,000 from their business, you know?
Yeah.
And blown away, those types of things. But of course, the knowledge.
No, it's awesome. I've been in the space, and a lot of this stuff was validated. Like, I kind of know this stuff, but yeah, the stories and the way you lay it out, it's like, oh yeah, we got to do that. You got to do that, and it's been motivating for me too, because I'm trying to start a little thing too, and I think everybody already knows that kind of stuff, or I don't have that much info, but I'm gonna think about that more.
That's the circle of people that we know, that Rex and I know in the continuous improvement realm and lean. I think we all think that way. You know, we think, oh, well, you know, we've been doing this for so long. Everybody knows this. But my aha that not everybody knows it came when I first went into management, and I had new college hires that were on my team coming to me and asking me questions. And in the back of my head, my first reaction was, oh my God, how do you not know that? and then I went, oh, that's right. That's right. You haven't been doing this for 20 years. It's my job to help you know that.
Yeah.
And that shift, it's a shift. It's a mental model shift that you have to get past.
Yeah, I really like that message about just being one step ahead of someone to lead them. You don't have to be the world expert.
Absolutely. And I mean, when I think about things that have held me back from starting something in the past, that's it. It's the idea. Yeah. Even going into teaching, you know, when I first started teaching, I thought, well, I can't, I don't know enough about this stuff. I can't teach, but I don't have to have a PhD. I don't have to have I don't have to be an expert in everything. That's right. Yeah. I just need to be one step ahead of the students.
Yeah. And it turns out we probably are a lot of steps ahead of students, right?
It turns out that's true. You find out that you have more knowledge than you think you do, especially for people like us that have more than a couple of years of experience. You know, maybe for a new college hire that's been in industry for a year or two, they still have knowledge, but it's the magnitude is different.
Yeah. So, like the message kind of really built my confidence that maybe I do know something, and maybe it's worth something. So
yeah. So be wary of that curse of knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it for episode, or the second part, I should say, of our interview with Matt McWilliams. There are more parts to come, so stay tuned, and we'll see you then. I'm Sean Genovese.
Rex Williams.
Get your copy of Matt's new book at passionsintoprofitsbook.com/Rex for over $500 in bonuses.